You're watching WYLN TV 35. Now, from the area's leader in live local news, this is WYLN News, the area's #1 source of live local news and information in Luzerne, Schuylkill, Carbon, and Columbia counties. WYLN News starts now.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on WYLN News. I'm Julia Wiegand. An arrest was made yesterday in the fatal hit and run that killed 30-year-old Kevin Dendulk of Montgomery County. 27-year-old Zachary Gerbino of Sugarloaf Township confessed to the crash that occurred in the early morning hours of Saturday on Interstate 81 in Hazel Township. He was driving his grandmother's gray Hyundai Accent at the time of the incident. A search warrant was executed at his home Monday, which is when authorities found the partially disassembled car in the garage. Gerbino told police he was drinking before the accident and realized he hit something while driving in the I-81 construction zone. He told his parents he hit a deer, only later becoming aware of the fatal crash that took place at the same location. It was then he realized he was responsible for taking Dendulk's life. He was charged with a second-degree felony for accidents involving death or personnel injury and a second-degree misdemeanor for tampering with evidence. He apologized to Dendulk's family while being let out of a courtroom last night before being taken to prison. The Wolf administration urges residents to watch out for dangerous weather conditions as storm season hits. Pima advised people during severe weather conditions to first, never walk or drive through floodwater. It's also important to know the difference between a watch and a warning. Here's an example. A flood watch means that flooding could occur, while a warning means there's actual flooding. Residents should have multiple ways to get severe weather alerts, whether it be by text, purchasing a weather radio, or using social media. Motorists traveling through a storm can visit 511pa.com or download the app to check on updated road conditions. More information on preparing for an emergency can be found by visiting the Ready PA website. Residents in one Schuylkill County borough continue to keep an eye out as storms pass through the area. Gilberton experienced heavy flooding after a rainstorm back in early June. Many homes sustained severe damage after just 3 inches of rain, which caused floodwaters to ravage the area. The Schuylkill County EMA was keeping a watchful eye since up to 3 inches of rain was predicted for the area today. The borough borrowed 3 pumps from a neighboring municipality to prevent a repeat of June's flooding, while residents continue to recover from June's flood damage. State Representative Tara Toohill issued a statement regarding the PIAA's decision to ban spectators from high school sports this fall over COVID-19 concerns. Toohill's office heard from a number of upset parents that'll have to miss seeing their child compete in his or her senior year. Toohill calls the PIAA's decision a complete overreach. She went on to say there are several ways to social distance at sporting events, like sitting and standing or wearing masks. She also signed on to letters sent by House Majority Leader to both the governor and PIAA president, requesting the decision to be reversed or modified. A Mahanoy City man was arrested after police and fire responded to a residence Sunday afternoon in the borough. Crews were called to 1400 East Center Street for a report of smoke billowing from a building. There, they found a woman in the street, yelling for a man to get out of the house. As police approached the house, 33-year-old John Bychek threatened to assault the officer. He eventually came out of the house, but continued to resist arrest. Bychek was evaluated at the scene by EMS before police took him to the station, where he was charged with making terroristic threats, resisting arrest, obstruction of justice, and disorderly conduct. He was taken to prison, unable to post $25,000 straight cash bail. Authorities checked out the home to find smoldering tea bags on the stove. Code enforcement was also called in and deemed the home unsafe to live in. A Wapwallopin man's facing charges after trying to disarm a police officer during a struggle in Cunningham Township. State police were called for a report of a domestic dispute on Mulholland Drive. The victim said 55-year-old Randy Scott Ballier began throwing and smashing items inside the home and threw a sewing machine down a flight of stairs. Troopers confronted him to escort Ballier outside of the home, but that's when he grabbed hold of a porch post and refused to let go. He then proceeded to take a swing at one of the officers. So they tried to tase him, but as the struggle continued, he reached for the trooper's gun and was eventually arrested. Ballier was charged with aggravated assault, disarming a law enforcement officer, simple assault, and resisting arrest. He was taken to prison for lack of $10,000 bail. 2 organizations were awarded through the CARES Act Recovery Assistance Grant by the Economic Development Administration. Congressman Matt Cartwright announced that the NEPA Alliance in Pittston's getting $2.1 million to serve Carbon, Lackawanna, Luzerne, Monroe, Pike, Schuylkill, and Wayne counties. The Northeastern Pennsylvania Industrial Resource Center in Hanover Township's getting $550,000 to serve Carbon, Schuylkill, Sullivan, Lackawanna, Tioga, Luzerne, and Wyoming counties. The CARES Act Recovery Assistance Grants are awarded nationally to provide financing to small businesses across Pennsylvania that were impacted by the pandemic. The Attorney General's office shut down price gouging at 2 medical supply companies Monday in NEPA. Keystone Medical Equipment in Jim Thorpe sold 122 face masks at $28 per mask, while American Surgical Supply in Pottsville sold 485 face masks at $26 per mask. Unreal. The AG's office was tipped off before entering into an assurance of voluntary compliance with the companies to prevent any future price gouging practices. This also requires the companies to pay restitution to anyone who purchased their N95 face masks between March 6th and July 28th at excessive prices. Be sure to file and submit your complaint before September 23rd to be considered, and don't forget to attach that receipt. Coming up on Wyln News, calling for changes to fine-tune the mail-in voting process, plus SpaceX made its way back to Earth. But first, we'll take a look at our 5-day forecast brought to you by the Wyln Weather Kids. We'll be right back.
My name is Charlie. I am 8, and the forecast for tomorrow is sunny.
Hi, I had a very minor fender bender tonight in an unreasonably narrow fast food drive-thru lane. Don't worry, I have everything handled. I already spoke to our Allstate agent, and I know that we have accident forgiveness, which is so smart on your guys' part. Like the fact that they'll
4 weeks without the car.
Okay, yep, good night.
With accident forgiveness, your rates won't go up just because of an accident. Switching to Allstate is worth it.
Visit your local Allstate agent, the McNeilis Agency in Hazleton at 1092 North Church Street, or in Hometown in the Hometown Village Square.
From the bottom of our hearts, the WYLN TV 35 family would like to say thank you to all essential workers for your service to our community and for keeping us safe.
The state elections agency is calling on lawmakers to allow counties to distribute mail-in ballots earlier for the 2020 general election and beyond. The Department of State's review of the primary argues that legislature should allow ballots that arrive in county elections offices by the Friday after the elections to count, if they were postmarked by Election Day. The current deadline for counties to receive them is 8 p.m. the day of. The 43-page report says counties should have the green light to handle ballots in the pre-canvass process 3 weeks before Election Day. Current law mandates that mail-in ballots be sent out at least 2 weeks ahead of Election Day. Attorney General Josh Shapiro's office issued its second annual Safe to Say Something PA report from July 1, 2019 to June 30, 2020. The report empowers students, teachers, and administrators to anonymously report potentially unsafe activities in schools. Of the 23,745 tips received during the 2019-2020 school year, the top 3 revolved around bullying or cyberbullying, suicide or suicide ideation, and cutting or self-harm. AG Shapiro said the highest number of tips continue to be about mental health, and concluded that the pandemic showed the importance of increased public safety and life-saving resources for kids. Tips can be submitted online at safetosaypa.org, through the Safe to Say Something app, or by calling 844-SAFE-TO-SAY. The 2 American astronauts that made history launching off U.S. soil May 30th finally splashed down back on Earth. The SpaceX Crew Dragon Endeavor's touchdown marks the first crewed U.S. water landing in 45 years. The capsule carrying Doug Hurley and Bob Behnken splashed down off the coast of Pensacola, Florida, just before 3 Sunday afternoon. The SpaceX Demo 2 test flight for NASA's Commercial Crew program was the first to deliver astronauts to and from the International Space Station in a safe, reliable, and cost-effective manner on board a commercially built and operated spacecraft. The mission's successful end ignites a new era for all human transport needs just above Earth in the future. Looking forward, involving private companies like Elon Musk's company SpaceX could allow for additional research time in space and increase the opportunity for discovery. Perhaps we'll end up seeing some human exploration of the moon, or better yet, maybe Mars. Honda's recalling over 1.6 million of its U.S. minivans and SUVs, which will all have fixes available at no cost starting September 23rd. Nearly 608,000 2018-2020 Honda Odysseys, 2019 through 20 Passports, and 2019 through 21 Pilots were recalled for critical dashboard functions failing to display due to faulty software. Almost 500,000 2019-20 Odysseys and Passports, as well as 2019-21 Pilots, had incorrect software programming that stopped rear camera displays from working. Over 324,000 2018 through 20 Odysseys allowed water into the outer door handle cables, which can freeze and stop sliding doors from latching properly. Finally, over 212,000 2019 through 20 Odysseys allowed water into the rear view camera mounting holes and either distorted the camera image or prevented the image from displaying altogether. What a mouthful. Coming up on Brook Hill's News Choice, we talk bike and motorcycle safety on this Trooper Talk Tuesday in Community and You. Plus, the Eagles will have to fly without Doug for a bit. Stay with us.
All Care Home Care, providing quality in home care since 1986. Call and see how their team of licensed physical therapists, skilled nurses, speech, and occupational therapists can provide you with exceptional service in the comfort of your own home. They also offer dietitian, home health aide, and medical social worker services. You have a choice in your health care. For safe, friendly, qualified care, call All Care Home Care today and let their team begin taking care of you and your loved ones.
There's no better place to shoot than Whitetail Preserve. Their skeet trap and sporting clay fields are professionally designed, and all stations are handicapped accessible. Whitetail Preserve has resident shooting instructors certified by the NRA in shotgun, rifle, pistol, home safety, and personal protection in the home. Whitetail can also cater any size event, whether it be a private party, corporate event, or wedding. Call 570-455-4251 extension 1378 for more information.
Catch us this week on Let's Talk Chiropractic, where you'll learn all about massage therapy and the benefits of that in chiropractic. We'll see you this week.
Looking for information on the coronavirus pandemic? Make sure it's from a reliable source. Go to WYLNTV.com and click on the Lehigh Valley Health Network banner for the real facts about the coronavirus pandemic. And watch WYLN News live at 5:30 for updates on this ongoing crisis. The source matters now more than ever. WYLN, we're your local network.
Hello, I'm Philip Kaufman and welcome to Trooper Talk Tuesday. We're once again joined by Trooper Anthony Petrosky from Troop N in Hazleton. And today we're going to be discussing bike and motorcycle safety and what to do when you're on the road and you arrive in the situation where there may be a motorcycle or a bike. So especially with the summer, there's a lot of bicycles out now. People are going out trying to enjoy nature, weather, and everything that's so good. So if you're on the road and you run into a situation with a cyclist, maybe, I know I have, I drive a lot of back roads, run into the problem where I'm driving maybe 20 miles per hour behind somebody on a bike on a back road. How do you approach those situations? What's the safe way to go about that?
Well, you know, we have to share the road and you have to allow 4 feet for the bicyclist. So, you know, you can pass as long as it's safe to do so. Can't swerve in oncoming traffic just to get around the bicyclist. They also have to share the road too. So they can't take too much of the road away from motor vehicles. But again, you have to allow them 4 feet so you could safely pass them and keep them safe, you know. But we have to share the road. We have to. I know it could be frustrating, but when it's safe to pass and you're allowed to in a passing zone, please pass that bicyclist.
And now with motorbikes, much very different situation because you see them a lot more being on major roads such as the interstates or anything like that. And I know a lot of people miss them in their blind spots. Can we talk a little about motorcycle awareness? Yeah,
you know what, and that's the big one, is the blind spot. You see a car, you see a truck when you're driving, when you check your mirrors, you see them, but motorcycles can be in the blind spots a lot. So you really have to check. Don't just rely on your mirrors. Look over your shoulder before you change lanes on a major road, on an interstate. And intersections, check frequently. A lot of times you don't see these motorcycles and they're out there and they're allowed to be. So we have to look everywhere for them. But while we're talking about motorcycles, a big motorcycle safety issue I have is helmets. And I know it's not required. Anybody under the age of 18 is required to wear a helmet on a motorcycle, but we really should be wearing helmets. Unfortunately, we've investigated a lot of bad crashes that involve motorcycles. And if they're not wearing helmets, it doesn't turn out very well. So it's just something we want to stress, just like we stress people wearing their seatbelts. We want people to wear helmets on their motorcycles.
And I know a lot of people approach certain situations where, and I know I've been in traffic sometimes, and you see motorcyclists or maybe a biker, anything like that, kind of passing everybody else, going into the side lanes or anything like that. How should people be aware of those situations? I think a lot of times people get caught off guard with those. Can we talk a little bit?
And that could be frustrating. Number one, it's illegal for them to pass on a shoulder. You know, they have to stay in the lanes too. Just because they could fit on the shoulder or the berm of a roadway doesn't mean they're allowed to. That's illegal and they cannot do that. Number two, if somebody stuck in traffic sees that and they pull out in front of that motorcycle, causes a crash, they would be the cause of that. So don't do it. Call 911, we'll come out, we'll take a look, we'll canvass the area and try to find that motorcyclist, and we could cite them. So, you know, it is frustrating. Call us, don't try to do anything, handle it yourself. Call us, we'll handle it. But again, they are not allowed to pass on the shoulders.
And that'll do it for us here today. Thank you once again. Remember, if you're out on the road and you're around a bicyclist or a motorcyclist, remember your safety as well as their safety, and take both accounts into regard. And thank you once again for joining us.
Absolutely.
And thank you for joining us here on Trooper Talk Tuesday on WYLN News.
It's okay that everybody ignores me when I drive. It's fine, because I get a safe driving bonus check every 6 months I'm accident-free. Because I don't use my cell phone when I'm driving, even though my family does and leaves me all alone. Here's something else. I don't share it with Mom. Right, Mom? I have a brand new putter you don't even know about. It's awesome.
Safe driving bonus checks only from Allstate. Switching to Allstate is worth it.
Visit your local Allstate agent, the McNeilis Agency in Hazleton at 1092 North Church Street, or in Hometown in the Hometown Village Square.
Tune in every Sunday night on WYLN from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. for hard-hitting, high-flying, non-stop action as only Pennsylvania Premier Wrestling High Voltage can bring you. That's Pennsylvania Premier Wrestling every Sunday night on WYLN. I'll see you in the ring.
Hi, I'm Julia Wiegand, the newest news reporter for WYLN News. I'm so proud to be part of your #1 local news team. WYLN News. When local news happens, you can count on WYLN News to be there, whether it's in Berwick, Tamaqua, or right here in Hazleton. We work hard to be your #1 local news station, and will continue to work hard to stay #1.
Something is out there. What it is, no one knows. However, since its first sighting, there have been numerous reports of strange lights in the night sky. Some say they are extraterrestrials, flying saucers. But to all of those seemingly unrelated uncertainties, there is one common thread.
Solo Spaceman on WYLN TV 35. Thursdays at 1:30, Saturdays at 4, Sundays at 9.
Looks like the Philadelphia Eagles might be flying high without their usual leadership for a bit after their head coach tested COVID positive. Though the 52-year-old didn't comment on how he got the virus, Coach Doug Peterson says he feels great and has no symptoms. Peterson plans to run the team virtually as he quarantines at a home away from his family, while assistant head coach Deuce Staley handles training camp leadership duties. Peterson's entering his 5th season as Philadelphia's head coach after leading the Eagles to 3 straight playoff appearances and first SB victory back in 2018. Peterson's the 2nd NFL head coach known to test positive after the New Orleans Saints head coach said he picked up the virus back in March. Coronavirus claims another annual event, this time in Lackawanna County. The Scranton Police Department has canceled its 2020 National Night Out event. However, they look forward to making 2021's the biggest and best ever. National Night Out's an annual community building campaign that promotes police community partnerships to make neighborhoods safer, more caring places to live. And that's the news. Remember, the source matters now more than ever. Catch all the latest on our Facebook page or WYLNTV.com, where you can also find LVHN's real facts about COVID-19. Stay with us. A look at today's weather is next, right here on WYLN TV.
All Care Home Care, providing quality in home care since 1986. Call and see how their